Hello guys on Voice of Betrayal. Where every lie has a voice. They say the first year of marriage is the hardest. For me, it was the most delusional. It wasn't like we had a rocky start. Quite the opposite. Our wedding day was perfect, cliché even. The kind of day where everyone tells you how meant to be you look, how lucky you both are, how beautiful the bride is and how happy the groom seems. I meant every word I said at that altar. I didn't know she didn't. After the wedding, we slipped into married life quickly. Shared coffee in the mornings. Weekend grocery trips. Netflix and takeout on Fridays. A couple building a life. A rhythm. I thought we were happy. So when she suggested we go out of town for a weekend, just the two of us, I said yes without thinking. A little hotel in a nearby city. Dinner, drinks, a night out, sounded perfect. The hotel was cozy. Clean sheets. City view. We laughed as we unpacked. She danced around the room to music playing off her phone, barefoot, holding a glass of wine. That image, her spinning in that soft hotel light, would haunt me later. She disappeared into the bathroom to change. I sat on the edge of the bed, scrolling through my phone. When she came out, I remember it vividly. That dress. It wasn't the kind of dress you wear for dinner. It was the kind of dress you wear when you want to be noticed. Deep blue, silk, low cut, so low it barely held on to modesty. She wore no bra. I could see the gentle curve of her chest, the soft motion with each step. I tried not to stare, but I did. Too much, she asked with a teasing smile. No, I said. You look amazing. But inside, I wondered who she was wearing it for. And I hate that thought now, because I didn't wonder that then. I was just proud. Proud to have her on my arm. Proud to be her husband. We walked the short distance to a nearby bar. Fancy, modern, full of city people trying to look important. We weren't from here, but no one cared. We got a booth near the back, ordered drinks, and started talking about everything and nothing. And that's when he appeared. He didn't knock. Didn't say excuse me. He just walked right up to our table like he belonged there, threw his arms around my wife, and said, "Well, if it isn't the blushing bride. How's married life treating you, sweetheart?" She froze for a half second, just enough for me to catch it. Then she forced a smile. "Oh wow, hey. What are you doing here?" He looked at me then, gave a lazy nod. "You must be the lucky guy." I stood and shook his hand. Firm grip. No warmth. He was taller than me. Lean. Sharp suit. His eyes never really left her chest. She introduced him as someone who worked at her company, not in her office, but in the head office here in the city. Just a coworker. Casual. He didn't act casual. They talked, mostly him talking. I watched as she tried to maintain distance without making a scene. He made a comment about how she still knows how to turn heads. I chuckled politely. She didn't. After a minute, she said, "We were just about to head somewhere else." "Don't let me keep you," he said, with a wink, and walked off. I leaned in. "You okay?" She nodded quickly. Too quickly. "Yeah. Just, weird seeing him here. Let's go after this drink." Before we could, he came back. 2 drinks in hand. "Peace offering," he said, and set them on the table. I thanked him. He didn't reply. He lingered a minute. Said something about a promotion. Said something about how they should catch up sometime. He left again. We didn't finish those drinks. As we left, I noticed his table in the corner. 3 of them, him and 2 guys. All laughing. Looking at us. One of them made a gesture, like lifting imaginary breasts with his hands. The others laughed harder. I pretended not to notice. The first time I saw her, she was laughing. Not the kind of polite laugh you give when someone tells a dumb joke. Not the kind of laugh you fake on first dates or in office kitchens. This was the real thing, full-bodied, careless, loud. A laugh that filled a room. I was walking past the break room on my first day at my new job, and she was leaning against the counter, coffee in hand, head tilted back in joy. I stood there like an idiot for a second longer than I should have. Just watching. That laugh got me before her looks did. And she was beautiful, no question about that. Long dark hair, loose around her shoulders. Big eyes. Soft mouth. Confident. But it was the ease with which she existed in the world that pulled me in. She didn't seem to try hard. She didn't have to. She just was. We didn't work directly together, but we bumped into each other in the halls, the elevator, the lobby. She always smiled. Asked questions. Remembered my name. One afternoon, we both got stuck at the same crappy off-site training, sitting at the back of a cold conference room pretending to take notes. I cracked a joke about the trainer's haircut. She snorted into her coffee. After that, something changed. We started having lunch together. Then coffee breaks. Then we were texting after hours. It didn't feel like flirting at first, it felt like connection. Real, warm, addictive. 3 weeks later, I asked her out. She said yes immediately. Our first date was at a bar downtown. Cheap beer. Live music. She wore jeans and a leather jacket. No makeup. Her hair was still wet from the shower. She looked effortless. We talked for hours. About everything. Childhood stories. Favorite movies. Her strained relationship with her dad. My fear of becoming like mine. She didn't judge. She listened. And when I walked her to her car, she kissed me first. It was slow. Honest. No performance. The kind of kiss that makes you feel known. We fell fast. We moved in together after 9 months. Got engaged after a year and a half. Friends said we were goals. Our Instagram looked like a rom-com montage. Brunches, beach trips, lazy Sundays. But what people didn't see, what I didn't see, was the way she compartmentalized everything. She had her work life, her friends, her nights out. I never pushed. I believed in trust. I thought that was strength. I thought not asking questions was proof of love. Looking back, I realize how blind I was. But back then, I just felt lucky. There was one night, one that sticks out now. We were lying in bed. She was on her phone, scrolling through photos from her company's Christmas party. The one I hadn't gone to because she said it was just for employees. I didn't argue. She showed me a picture of her and some guy, tall, good-looking, wearing a crooked tie and holding a drink. She said, "That's Dylan. He's a total idiot. Tried to hit on every woman in the room." I laughed. "Did he try you?" She smirked. "Of course." I told him I was taken. He backed off. Sort of. We moved on. She put her phone down. Rolled over. Kissed me goodnight. I remember how easily she said it. How casual it sounded. And I remember, now, that was the man in the bar. It was a Tuesday. Not a dramatic day. Not an anniversary. Not a fight. Just Tuesday. I came home from work a little late, still wearing my button-up, tie loosened, the taste of bad office coffee still in my mouth. She was sitting on the couch. No TV on. No music. Just sitting there, legs tucked under her, staring at nothing. I knew something was wrong the second I walked in. I put my keys down. "Everything okay?" She didn't answer right away. Just kept staring at a spot on the floor like it had something important to say. Then she looked up at me. Eyes wet. Face pale. "I need to tell you something," she said. Time did something strange then. You know how, in movies, everything slows down when the big moment happens. That's not how it works in real life. In real life, everything speeds up. Your heart kicks. Your stomach flips. Your body knows before your brain catches up. I sat down across from her. "Okay," I said. "What is it?" She looked like she was trying to climb out of her own skin. She ran her fingers through her hair. Bit her bottom lip. Started to speak, then stopped. "You're scaring me," I said. Just say it, and she did. I slept with someone. The words didn't land all at once. It was like hearing a glass shatter in another room. You know something broke, but you don't know what yet. I blinked. What? She swallowed hard. Her voice was small. Before we got married. 4 months before. It was stupid. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. The room started to tilt. The air got thin. Who? I asked. My voice was calm, but it didn't feel like mine. She hesitated. Then she said his name. And suddenly, I was back in that bar. Watching him wrap his arms around her. Watching his eyes crawl down her chest. Watching his friends laugh from the corner like hyenas circling a fresh kill. Dylan. She slept with him. The men I met. The men who smiled at me with that smug, lopsided grin. The men who handed me a drink like a peace offering when all along he knew something I didn't. The men who looked at me like I was the punchline to a joke he'd already told. I stood up. Had to move. Had to breathe. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. I don't know, she said. I've been carrying it. I couldn't keep lying. 4 months before our wedding. She nodded. Was it just once? Another nod. I didn't believe her. Not fully. But I couldn't process more than one lie at a time. She started crying. I hated myself after, she said. I thought it would ruin everything. But then the wedding came, and everything felt so real, so good, and I convinced myself it didn't matter. That it was behind me. I laughed. Bitter. Hollow. You convinced yourself. She looked away. I looked at her, really looked. And all I could see was that night in the bar. All I could hear was the laughter from that corner table. All I could feel was shame. The kind that sticks to your skin no matter how hard you scrub. I slept next to her that night. But I didn't touch her. Didn't speak. I stared at the ceiling until morning, wondering how long I'd been living in a story that wasn't mine. The next morning, I got in the car and drove without knowing where I was going. I didn't even pack a bag. I just grabbed my wallet, my phone, my keys. No toothbrush. No charger. Just, gone. Like a man escaping a fire without thinking about the smoke in his lungs. I ended up at a gas station 2 towns over, sitting in the parking lot with the engine running and the radio off. I stared at the steering wheel like it had something to say. The thing about betrayal is, it's not loud. It's not even always angry. Sometimes, it's just silence, a kind of internal static that settles into your chest and doesn't move. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, numb, as the word before played in my head like a broken record. Before the wedding. Before the vows. Before she looked me in the eye, held my hands, and said she'd never love anyone the way she loved me. But after she let him in. I stayed with my brother that night. Told him I needed space. Didn't explain why. He gave me the spare room and a 6-pack and didn't ask questions. That's the kind of guy he is. He knew I'd talk when I was ready. I didn't talk. Not that night. I lay on the unfamiliar mattress, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slowly above me, and I went over it again and again. The bar. The hug. The drink he brought us. The way he smirked at her. The way she flinched, just barely. The way they all laughed when we walked out. I thought they were laughing at her dress. At how revealing it was. Now I know better. They weren't laughing at her. They were laughing at me. I finally texted her the next day. We'll talk. Just not yet. She replied. I'm sorry. I love you. I'll wait as long as you need. I stared at that message until my eyes blurred. You love me. You loved me when he was inside you. I didn't send anything back. For the next few days, I walked through my life like a ghost. I went to work. Answered emails. Took calls. Ate lunch. But everything was hollow. Every conversation felt fake. Every interaction felt like a distraction from the scream I was holding in my chest. I wanted to ask her. Did you kiss him like you kiss me? Did you undress for him like you did for me that night at the hotel? Did you moan his name? Did you whisper things you never told me? Did he make you laugh after? Did you cuddle? Did you lie to him too? Or just to me? But I didn't ask. Because I was afraid of the answers. One night, maybe 4 days after she told me, I went back to the hotel bar's website. I found it online. The same bar where we saw him. Where he gave us drinks. Where they laughed. They had a photo gallery. Random snapshots from different nights, showing patrons, bartenders, people laughing over cocktails. And in one photo, blurry and dim, I saw them. Us. Me and her, sitting at our table. And in the background, over her shoulder, him. Staring. Grinning. Frozen in time like some sick punchline to a joke I never agreed to be part of. I closed the laptop. And for the first time since she told me, I cried. 5 days. That's how long I stayed away. Long enough to miss the place that used to be home. Long enough to dread seeing her again. Long enough to go through every scenario in my head, from forgiving her to packing my things and never coming back. I didn't choose either. Not yet. I came back on a Sunday evening. Quiet, cold, overcast. One of those gray skies that feels like a warning. She was sitting on the living room floor when I walked in, like she hadn't moved since I left. The lights were off. No TV. No music. Just her, knees pulled to her chest, sweater sleeves covering her hands like a kid who knew she'd done something unforgivable. She looked up when I came through the door. I didn't think you'd come back, she said. I didn't either, I replied. I didn't sit down. I just stood there, looking at her, this woman I had loved without question, without hesitation. This woman who had let someone else touch her while I was out planning the rest of my life with her. She opened her mouth to speak. I held up a hand. Let me talk first. She nodded. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, not because I was thirsty but because I needed something to do with my hands. I need to ask you something, I said. She looked up again. Eyes red. Barely breathing. Did you sleep with him more than once? She shook her head quickly. No. Just that night. I swear. I believed her. Or I wanted to. And why him? I asked. Of all people, why him? She blinked hard. Swallowed. Looked down at her lap. I don't know. Bullshit. She didn't argue. Finally, she spoke. I was drunk. I was stressed. I had doubts. About what? About everything. Us. Marriage. Whether I was ready. Whether I deserved it. I laughed bitterly. So your way of dealing with doubt was to fuck some guy from corporate? She winced, but didn't deny it. I didn't plan it, she said quietly. He flirted. I flirted back. I was drunk. One thing led to another and we ended up in his hotel room. I closed my eyes. I could picture it now. Her stumbling into his room. His hands on her body. Her dress falling to the floor. Maybe she told herself she was someone else, just for a night. Maybe she convinced herself it didn't count. But you still married me, I said. She nodded. Because I loved you. No. Don't say that. I did. I do. Then why didn't you tell me before the wedding? She had no answer. Because there was no answer. Only cowardice. We sat in silence for a while. Just breathing. I didn't enjoy it, she said suddenly. I looked at her like she'd just stabbed me again. That doesn't help. She nodded. I know. I sat down finally, across from her. You lied to me every day since. Smiled at me. Slept next to me. Let me carry this image of you, of us, that wasn't real. Tears slid down her face. I didn't want to lose you, she whispered. But you already had, I said. She tried to reach for my hand. I pulled away. That moment said more than anything else could. The distance between us had become a canyon. And neither of us knew how to cross it. People think betrayal is like getting stabbed in the back. But it's not. It's more like discovering there's a crack in the foundation of your home, the one you built with your own hands, and realizing it's been there the whole time. Spreading. Deepening. Hidden under the paint, behind the walls, beneath the pretty fixtures. And now the house is sinking. 3 days after I came back home, I finally told someone. It was after work. I met up with Caleb, one of my oldest friends, at a bar we used to go to in our 20s. The kind of place where the floor is sticky and the bartender remembers your name even after a decade. I hadn't seen him in months. He took one look at me and said, "You look like shit." I forced a smile. "Thanks. Good to see you too." We sat at a booth in the back. Ordered 2 beers. He waited until we were halfway through the first before asking, "So, what's going on?" I didn't dance around it. I didn't build it up. "She cheated," I said. He blinked. Set down his glass. "Who?" "My wife." I watched the word hit him like a punch to the gut. "Shit, man." "When?" "Before the wedding." "What the fuck?" I nodded. "Yeah. 4 months before. At her company Christmas party. Some guy from her head office. Dylan." "Jesus." He leaned back in the booth, ran a hand over his face. "And she just told you now?" "Last week. After everything." "Yep." He looked like he didn't know whether to be angry or sad. Or both. "Do you know who the guy is?" I took a long sip of beer. "Met him. Night after our wedding. Ran into him at a bar in the city. He hugged her. Called her sweetheart. Brought us drinks. Stared at her tits the whole time. I thought he was just some cocky coworker." Caleb's eyes widened. "Wait, you met the guy she..." I nodded. She sat across from me like nothing had happened. And he sat across the room laughing with his friends like I was a joke. Caleb didn't say anything for a minute. Then, "Man. I don't even know what to say." I shrugged. "There's nothing to say. Are you gonna leave her?" "I don't know." "You still love her?" "I hate that I do." "That's what no one tells you. It's not easy to just walk away. Even when you should. Even when everyone says you should. Because it's not just love. It's history. It's the morning she brought you coffee. The time she laughed so hard she fell off the couch. The way she curled into you when she couldn't sleep. The life you imagined with her, kids, holidays, gray hair, holding hands in the hospital waiting room someday. You don't just walk away from all of that. You carry it like a weight. Caleb leaned in. "Look, whatever you decide, to stay or go, just don't pretend it didn't matter. Don't bury it. This happened. She made that choice. And you're allowed to be fucking angry." I nodded. He was right. I just didn't know what to do with the anger. Because anger meant I was still trying to protect something. And I wasn't sure there was anything left worth protecting. They say time heals all wounds. That's a lie. Time doesn't heal. It hides. It buries. It pushes things under the surface where you can't see them. But they're still there, rotting. Waiting. We tried. That's the part people don't always understand. We tried. We cooked dinner together like before. Chicken stir-fry on Tuesday. Tacos on Friday. We watched movies. We made small talk. We tried to find the rhythm we used to have, the easy, gentle current of married life. But everything felt staged. Like we were actors playing ourselves in some off-Broadway tragedy. We slept in the same bed. We even had sex again. It was a Tuesday night. Quiet. Rain on the windows. She leaned into me on the couch. I kissed her. She kissed back. It wasn't passion. It wasn't forgiveness. It was habit. Memory. Muscle reflex. We moved to the bedroom. She undressed slowly, like she was trying to prove something, to herself, maybe, or to me. I touched her, but in my mind, I saw him touching her. I kissed her, but I imagined her lips on his skin. She whispered my name, and I wondered if she whispered his, too. I finished. I rolled over. I stared at the ceiling. And then came the guilt, not hers. Mine. For still wanting her. For still needing the body that had betrayed me. We lay there in silence. She reached for my hand. I let her take it. Because I didn't know what else to do. Because sometimes, holding hands feels like the only thing standing between you and total collapse. The next morning, I found her crying in the bathroom. She tried to hide it, turned her back to the mirror, wiped her eyes. I didn't ask why. I already knew. Because I was still with her, but I wasn't really with her. Because she could feel the distance. Because even though I hadn't left, a part of me never came back. One night, I had a dream. In it, we were back at our wedding. She was walking toward me in her dress. She looked beautiful. Glowing. But when she reached me, she whispered, "Don't believe me." I looked down. Her dress was stained. Her hands were covered in something dark. And behind her, standing in the crowd, was him. Smirking. The same smirk I saw in the bar that night. I woke up drenched in sweat, heart pounding. She stirred next to me. Bad dream. I didn't answer. Because the truth is, I wasn't sure I'd ever wake up from it. It didn't happen in a fight. There was no screaming. No slammed doors. No final insult shouted from the driveway as one of us drove away. It happened over toast. Sunday morning. I was spreading butter. She was sitting across from me in one of my old hoodies, barefoot, knees pulled up to her chest. And I realized. I didn't know how to look at her anymore. Not without seeing him. Not without remembering. Not without doubting every smile, every soft touch, every quiet "I love you." She asked me what I wanted to do that day. Maybe go for a hike. A drive. I said nothing. Not because I was angry, I wasn't, not anymore. I was just empty. Exhausted. Done. I looked at her and said, "I can't keep doing this." She stopped chewing. Blinked. Doing what? Pretending. She didn't argue. She didn't beg. She just nodded. A small, broken nod, like she'd been waiting for this moment as long as I had. "I know," she said. That day we didn't pack bags. We didn't split furniture or scream about who'd keep the dog. We just sat. Two people in a house full of memories. Two people who once believed they'd grow old together. Two people who now barely recognized each other. I moved out a few days later. Took only what I needed. Left the rest. Clothes. Laptop. Guitar. Silence. She stood by the door. No final speech. No closure. She said, "I'm sorry." I said, "I know." And that was it.